666, the number assigned to Satan. And there's so much confusion around this number. There's also a lot of superstition. In fact, I imagine some people are like, I can't believe he just showed that number in church. Like these screens have now been marked with the beast. We're gonna have to throw them away and burn them just to be safe. There's so much superstition around this number. People have tried to find the number 666 and all sorts of things over the years so that they could associate them with Satan. And so Protestants have associated the Pope with the number 666, and Catholics have associated Martin Luther with the number 666. Everyone from Napoleon to even Ronald Reagan was associated with Satan because his full name, Ronald Wilson Reagan, has 6 letters in each one of those names. And you put it together, 666, obviously Ronald Reagan was Satan. And people have found 666 in Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Some of you made one or the other of those 3, give an amen. It's not there. A friend told me yesterday that his son's social security number actually has the number 666 together in his number. And he told his wife when they saw that, I think you just gave birth to Satan. And people have tried to assign 666 to barcodes and credit cards, COVID vaccines, the Disney logo, even Monster Energy drink has been associated with 666 because the logo resembles 3 Hebrew letters that are associated with the number 6. I highly doubt that Satan is in Monster Energy drinks, although I've never had one. I have seen the ingredients. I imagine it probably feels like you have a demon inside of you after drinking one of those. But my guess is that when John wrote this letter to the persecuted church in the first century, he's not like, guys, stay away from Monster Energy drink. I know it's not gonna come for another 2,000 years, but you've been warned. He's not talking about barcodes. He's not talking about Disney logos. He was using code language to pull back the curtain on something much, much bigger. In the first century, there was a technique known as gematria, where numbers would be, or letters would be turned in and given numerical value. And it would be used kind of as like some code language sometimes. In fact, archaeologists excavating Pompeii discovered a few years ago this home, and in the bedroom of one of the homes, this is what they found written on the wall. I love her whose number is 545. And we don't know who that is, but we can imagine that who wrote it was this lovesick young man who didn't want his parents to know who his crush was. Gematria assigns numbers to letters, and when we play with the number 666, the question that we should be asking is not, ooh, I wonder who or what this is going to be. The question we should be asking is, I wonder who John had in mind when he uses this. What would have made sense to him, and what would have made sense to these persecuted Christians that he's writing to? And there are a few options from John's day. The most likely, though, is the Emperor Nero. If you write out Nero Caesar as he was known in Hebrew, you add up the gematria of those letters and you get the number 666. When you think about all that Nero did to persecute the Christians, putting them in the lions to fight, to putting them on stakes and burning to light his gardens in the evening, all that he did to persecute the church and to stop this Jesus movement, it kind of makes sense. And this is the same empire that Nero led, and the Roman Empire that crucified Jesus, and is now murdering his followers, continuing through the Emperor Domitian. So if you take this symbolism of the numbers and the person or the system that represents by 666, it just generically points to any power or system or government or leader that opposes what God is for, opposes God's ways, opposes God's people, which makes sense when you look at our text today. We finally got to it. 20 minutes in my sermon.